Welcome back. Don't forget, we're all over social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, our official website, thestevenknightshow.com. You can watch us on our YouTube channel, Stephen Knight Show. Chike, where can everybody follow you?
Everybody can follow me at The Real Absolutely Chike on Instagram, Absolutely Chike on Twitter, Conversations with Chike Evans on Instagram, and Conversations with Chike Evans on YouTube. You can also IMDb me, please.
What about you, Nayyir?
I'm gonna be rebranding soon, but it should always draw a straight line back to Nayyir Sharif. It should always be connected to that somehow, but I'm about to do a rebrand. So stay tuned for that.
Big. I know it's gonna be big. And I'm at Stephen Knight 32. All right, well, Kanye has ruffled feathers once again. White Lives Matter is now trending after the rapper wore a t-shirt with the phrase while addressing attendees at his Yeezy SZN9 presentation in Paris. The controversial shirt had the Pope's face on the front, and he wore the same bedazzled flip-flops he sported last week to complete the look. Ye made a bold statement before the show started. According to page 6, he said, "I am Ye, and everyone who here knows that I am a leader," he said at one point in reference to his legal name, his new legal name. And he said, "You can't manage me." Now, he wasn't the only person that had the shirt on. The beloved Candace Owens also shared a few photos of the event with the Chicago native, also wearing a White Lives Matter shirt. Now, both posts garnered over 17,000 comments collectively. Real Housewives of Potomac star Dr. Wendy Asofa stepped in, writing, "All skin folk and kinfolk," shortly after Ye began trending #1 on Twitter. And journalist Mark Lamont Hill, he spoke in a series of tweets condemning Ye's actions. Now, he's been it seems like every week something's going on with him. He supported Donald Trump in the election. Now it's the White Lives Matter. And a lot of people would say he's a genius. He's made great music, obviously. He has some interesting fashions with his line, but they're successful. Chike, what do you make out of this latest stunt by him?
So, and Nayyir's laughing already.
Nayyir's cracking up.
So, I think that certain people will do anything for the spotlight, and certain people would do anything for attention. And he spent a lot of time under those women, and he learned some things from them. So what he already had, plus his crazy, and then what he learned from them, got him to this point. I could go out to Times Square. Takes me 2 hours to get there. I could be at Times Square 2 hours and get buck ass naked right in the middle of Times Square. I'm going to make the news, but some things you just don't do.
Right.
I think that, and I'm very serious on this, I think that as a man of color, Kanye owes it to the community to not do crazy shit like that. Because at some point in time, that has a negative effect on his people. Some young Black man is watching you somewhere who idolizes you and wants to be you, and will go out and buy a White Lives Matter shirt because you put it out there, but has no understanding of what that really means, and how awful that is to him in his life, being in this country. Just some things that he does is completely asinine. That's just how I feel.
Yeah. Nayyir?
This is I miss Lynia. I miss El Boogie. She would have. I don't know if she would have much to say or not, but her reaction to it would be just fantastic.
Her face expression.
So again, I gotta, Chike, he be dropping gems. So the thing that he said that stood out to me the most was the person who sees that, the Black boy or girl who sees that and does not have the depth of experience or wisdom or knowledge that Chike has, that Nayyir has, that Mr. Knight has. All they see are the sentence, or is that phrase, "White Lives Matter." what question does that pose for them? What discussion does that start with and for them? That makes me wonder. I actually am curious about that because I wouldn't, I'm not privileged any longer to have that level of my thought process is much deeper now. So for me, the question is, what does it mean? It's like, what does it mean? Which is the same as the kid who doesn't have the depth of experience. But for me, it's like, I'm trying to go with you. Yeah, I want to follow you. I want to be a supporter. I want to figure this thing out with you. But what does that mean? And even it's uncomfortable for me. So I can only imagine what the conversation or the thought might be for someone who doesn't have what we already have, and how harmful or otherwise that is,
Yeah.
Those are my raw thoughts. I don't have a strong line of, there's no conclusion. That's just where I'm at with it right now.
Yeah. And my thing is, I think, yes, Kanye, he's done great work in his career, but I think it comes down to, what are you really trying to accomplish, with something like this? I saw is the gentleman who used to work at TMZ. He's the one that interviewed Kanye when Kanye said that
slavery was a
choice.
Van.
Yeah. So he posted the picture and he said, "Y'all." That's all he put. And you saw all the comments, celebrities, everyday people just disgusted. It's like, I don't see, like, it's one thing of having a shock value and shock factor, but it's like, there's a difference with being ignorant with it. And, we're doing so much in this country as Black and brown people, and it's kind of like a slap in the face of those people that are fighting for justice just for everyday Black and brown people, I feel like. And I just find it hard to support him when he does stuff like that. When he did the whole Trump thing, you know what I mean? It's just like, but the thing is, when he had that surprise concert, it was sold out. Yeah. It was filled. He has a lot of fans. And I think that when you have that much, so many people following you, you're following your career, it comes with, it's a gift to have that. And it should be handled delicately. You know what I mean? What you're putting out there, what you're saying, it's just too much for me.
I'm wondering what it means. And I feel like it's connected to something. I'm feeling like it's connected to Off-White, but I know he's using the shock value of the phrase. Right. And I'm wondering if it's connected to, Off-White and Virgil's philosophy on creativity and just unlimited, creativity. So I'm wondering if it's white lives matter, as in white, as in the philosophy of Off-White's creator, Virgil. Kind of like that. I don't know. I'm really wondering what it means to Kanye. What is like you said? What is he trying to accomplish?
And if that is the case, I hope he explains it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got the attention. Now explain it to me.
You said he hopes he explains it, but just to even play in that ambiguity is a disrespect.
Yeah.
Like, you do that. Yeah. Not especially right now. You can't do that.
And then he had Candace Owens rocking the same shirt.
No. You can't do that.
Yeah.
It's the wrong move. And then you have, I'm bringing up R. Kelly, where he disrespected people and it got him canceled. As a people, if we don't know that this is disrespectful, then what is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. It's true. All right, well, the United States Department of Education is moving funny. It recently changed its guidance around who qualifies for President Joe Biden's student debt relief plan. According to NPR, the changes regarding borrowers who took out federal student loans several years ago. This includes Perkins loans and federal family education loans, also known as FFEL. Reports state FFEL department's website advised borrowers that they could consolidate their loans into federal direct loans and thereby qualify for relief under Biden's debt cancellation program. However, the department quietly changed its language. The current guidance states, as of September 29th, 2022, borrowers with federal student loans not held by ED cannot obtain one-time debt relief by consolidating those loans into direct loans. This change could potentially affect roughly 800,000 borrowers. At this time, it's unclear why the department reversed its decision to consolidate the FFEL borrowers with commercially held loans and then qualify for debt relief. So, but they pretty much they put it out there with the requirements for this loan, and then they secretly changed it seemingly overnight. And so it's up to the borrower to find out that they now qualify. And as you said, they were ranting and raving about how many people will be, they will qualify for this, and now they won't. 100,000 people won't. So is the Department of Education moving funny, Nayyir?
They are, and they probably realize that there are some people who are paying and don't even realize that they qualify, so they don't want to stop that flow. They just, hey, you're gonna pay, keep paying, and then and it's probably causing more work on them to go and find the people rather than just let people come and say, hey, do I qualify? For those who are really, really concerned. Other than that, they don't want to miss that money. Of course, they're moving funny. The bottom line is always that bread, always.
Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts, Chike?
The same, but I'm thinking flim flam, shim sham. And once they get found out, and if it wasn't, which it doesn't really sound like it's legal, there's another lawsuit. There's something else coming, especially when people start catching on.
Mm-hmm.
And it spreads like wildfire. I tell my friend, look, listen, this is what they did. This is how I got through. This is what you need to do. And then they tell the next person and the next and the next and the next. And so now there's a whole movement, and they better stop playing with people. They better stop playing with people.
Yeah. I wonder if someone has to do, because I read there was like 6 Republicans who were suing the administration over this debt relief. I wonder if this is their way of trying to lessen the, or try to negotiate with them. I don't know, but it's just weird that they would do this and not make a statement, because they were boasting about this, this new forgiveness program, and now they quietly changed the restrictions or requirements. So it's kind of, they're playing. Get together, y'all. Get together. Our last story. So many people around the world have been talking about the new Netflix series, Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer Story. However, some people believe that the series should be removed from the streaming service, including your boy Boosie, who took to Twitter to express his thoughts. As Black people, we should boycott Jeffrey Dahmer movie. What he did to our Black kids is fucking sick. Hashtag Netflix, take this movie down, it's sick. He later followed up with a video expressing those sentiments once again and said, us as Black people, we need to ban this Jeffrey Dahmer movie. This is some sick shit. What he did to our race, this is some sick shit. We need to boycott this damn movie off Netflix. This is sick. The victim's family should be getting paid off of every dollar Netflix made. So for those who are not familiar with the Netflix series, it stars Evan Peters, who portrays serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer. The series explores the stories of the victims that were unfortunately murdered by Dahmer in Wisconsin. Dahmer murdered 17 boys and gay men. He was eventually charged with the murder he committed and was sentenced to life in prison. He later died in prison after being beaten by another inmate. As previously reported, Rick Ross became the talk of social media when he tweeted out, locate me a pair of those Dahmer shades, because you wore these shades and Rick Ross wanted some apparently. And apparently they're selling for like $15,000. I saw that today. Over this overall series was create a conversation on social media, and the viewers noticed race played a major factor in why Jeffrey Dahmer was able to murder multiple people before being caught. So he started off, he killed 2 white guys, at least they showed it. And then he had gone to jail several times for, he was an alcoholic by the time he was 16. At one point he went to the state fair and he exposed himself at the fair because he was drunk off the beer. Went to jail for that. Then he moved in with his grandmother. He had some issues there. He went to jail at some point, and then he moved to what seemed to be the hood. And that's where it seemed like he was targeting a lot of the Black and brown people because he was living in the community. And so a lot of people, some people, the families have said that this is triggering and bringing back those old memories. And and whatnot. And then some people are saying it's important to tell the story because a lot of people don't know about the Jeffrey Dahmer story. And it's a cautionary tale for young people, like if they're going to hook up with somebody on first date or, that kind of thing, going to people's house and that kind of thing. So I see kind of both points, but what are your thoughts? I'll start with you, Chike.
I'm here for the art. So we're not canceling no movies. We're gonna play them. We're gonna play them out. This is a real life event. This is history. This really happened. They didn't make this up. And there's a nice companion piece that goes with this. I watched it on Tubi, and it was basically a study of Jeffrey Dahmer. And the series is on point. They didn't miss a beat. They're on point. And there's actually more stuff that happened that didn't make the series that he did. I guess this would be likened to the Atlanta child murders, where they were snatching little boys off the street in the 80s. That's triggering to watch that. That's a scary point in time. I remember that very clearly, very vividly. And it was a time of horror for our people. We didn't know what Jeffrey was doing. We found out after the fact. At least in the middle of the child murders, we knew what was going down when it was happening. So if no one ever if that man never got out of Dahmer's house to get to the cops, right, that night that he got arrested, we would have never known what he was doing. Somebody could be doing this stuff right now. We would not know until after the fact. I think that we need to examine stuff like this and use it as a case study for future.
Yeah, I did see this. There was a reporter she reported on that case back in the day, back in the early 90s when it was going on. And she said that there were some things that they got wrong in the series. They said, for one, Niecy Nash's character did not live next door to him. She lived in another building down the street, but she was the first person to alert the police. She also said that in the series, they reference that smell of the dead bodies in his home and whatnot. She said that the smell didn't even smell. That's not the smell that it would have given, and so it wouldn't have been that prominent. And then there was one more thing. Oh, she said that in the series, he kind of makes reference to his dad is the reason why he was the way he was. Because if you remember when he was a kid, his dad would because he was trying to expose him to different things that young Jeffrey liked, and dissecting animals became his thing. And so in the series, it made it seem like that's kind of what introduced him to this kind of thing. But in real life, he made it very clear that he was very protective of his parents. And he said that he's the reason the way he is because of him, not anyone else. So that was what she said. I saw that on Entertainment Tonight. But Nayyir, what do you think about this? Do you think that should we keep in mind the families that are having relived this, or is this art needs to be told? These stories need to be told.
That's a big question. Maybe the family should have been consulted. If they were not consulted, I can't imagine they would not have been. But I guess they don't have to with the public information. But I don't know. Maybe it would have been wise or good to consult them. And not everything is worth making a money play on unless you can involve the people who were involved and they're okay with it and figure out how to make it something helpful to others, like Chike said as well. It did happen. I remember when that was going down. I remember when that case happened and how scared, we were when we found out there was a man like that out there as a child, just knowing that story. I know it can be traumatic for the families involved, but I think it is something that whatever form it comes out in as a series or documentaries or whatever, that information needs to be known. That story needs to be told because he was a monster. Mm-hmm. He was.
In a way, I think they didn't obviously go through all 17 men that were killed, but they did tell specific stories about certain family members that were killed. And at the end, they showed everyone. They showed their pictures and their names. And so I think in a way it's kind of keeping the memory alive, but this was history, something that did happen. That's like never discussing 9/11 again. You know what I mean? 3,000 people died then. You know what I mean? So I do feel for the parents, but I definitely think these kind of stories, they can serve as a cautionary tale to young people, you know, when they're going to these clubs and hooking up with people that they don't know, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Well, that is our hot topics. Nayyir, thank you as always. Chike, I'll see you in movie reviews, and I hope you all have a great week. We'll be right back after this.